going on, people? Welcome to my reflection, Flex's view. Man, so much going on. So much going on. I've seen social media, a lot of fans getting angry. There's so much stuff happening off the pitch. So Jim Ratcliffe's been into Carrington. He's been meeting the players. He's been meeting the staff. There's stuff going on with transfers, the Jadon Sancho situation, contract negotiations that's getting a lot of people triggered right now. It's all going on, all going off at Man United right now. Never is there a calm day. Never is there calm amongst the chaos at Man United. Smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new. I've got a lot to talk about, man. Do you know what? Because obviously I've been in Sky Sports the last couple of days, doing like a deep dive into Manchester United. I've had some good conversations with the club as well that I want to, share some insight as to my understanding of things as well as getting things off my chest as how I see things, in my opinion, not flex sources and all that, just actually how I feel about a lot of what's going on. So big up to everyone who's been showing love, big up to everyone who's been showing support, watching the morning view, the transfer views, getting involved in all the comments, because this literally is this is it, isn't it? These are the big talking points about our club, and these are the things that we care so much about and want to see tangible change and want to see us get right. And I think that with the hunger and the sort of anticipation and frustration of us wanting to see us do right, I think some things get lost in communication and some people look at things in different ways. And of course, on top of that, you've got just football opinion, which all differs. So let's get into a lot of what I want to talk about. I'm going to start with Martial. I want to start with Martial because, look, it started off a couple of days ago with Erik ten Hag in the press conference. Actually, yesterday when Simon Stone was asking what was going on with Raphael Varane and Martial, and it was then taken that Erik ten Hag gave fuel to the fire to suggest that Martial can get a new contract, and that just isn't the case. The manager's words definitely being twisted, or the lack of words that he said are being interpreted into something that I think news outlets wanted to see. I think Sky got it wrong as well. There was some, tweet that went up and stuff like that. I ain't gonna not talk about it because I've been on Sky. That was what happened, and that was wrong. Do you know what I mean? And other people were tweeting it too. I saw TNT were like, doors open for Martial and all that. A lot of big media outlets and people online, other content creators, always talking to Martial, just trying to kind of even just it going straight over their head, which happens because sometimes when you just see a headline or you just hear a grab or you just read a snippet of something, you go, what's this? And then you run on, say your piece, or you react and stuff without actually looking at the full context of everything. And also, more importantly, or more recently, should I say, Darmesh, good friend of mine over at Sky, is sort of reporting that Saudi Arabia and Turkish club Fenerbahce are all understood to be interested in signing Anthony Martial. Now, not necessarily now, could be in the summer, could be now. There is a Turkish outlet as well saying that Fenerbahce have made a €7 million bid to Manchester United to sign Anthony Martial now. And that is a Turkish outlet called Takvim. Now, I'm not going to profess to know loads about that outlet. They seem like a pretty big Turkish outlet out there in Istanbul who are claiming that Fenerbahce are interested, but I would take more note on the sort of situation that Darmesh is saying it as well. So very interesting on the Martial thing, and this is what I mean. It leads back to, let's use our brains here, guys. Erik ten Hag didn't ever say that Martial's getting a new contract. He never said it. He didn't say it. Like, watch the press conference yourself. And if Man United, I'm telling you now, if Man United wanted to keep Martial at the football club, they would have triggered his deal. They would have triggered his deal, and there would have been more noise, a lot more noise, if you want to use the Varane situation to combat what I'm saying. There would have been more noise about Manchester United being willing to renegotiate at lower terms. Now, the conversations that I've had with the club and the insight that I've been given firsthand is that Varane's situation is very different to Martial's, and what we're seeing in the reports about Varane being on too high a wage and it can't be justified. That's absolutely true. I can confirm that. That is the club's way of thinking. They know that they can risk losing him on a free, but at the same time, the wages that he's on, that's the risk that they're willing to take, and it's the risk that they should be willing to take, given the astronomical wages that he's on, that we can't justify because he's not fit. But to Anthony Martial, they haven't exercised his right to trigger, and what I would say is that there isn't the same noises. There ain't the same noises and the same reports being touted about Martial getting an extension for a reason. In fact, I believe it to be that it will be extremely unlikely, and in my opinion, I don't think they will anyway. But I've been led to know that it's been extremely unlikely that Martial gets a new contract, and we can see why. I did a breakdown earlier today about the lack of goals, the lack of playing time, the injuries. Like we know all this. We see Martial. We've seen him for the last 3 years. It's over. It's done. There's no longevity in that. He's got to go. And if Saudi Arabia kind of come in and pay his wages now, or if Fenerbahce want to come in and for 7 million euros, Man United will look at it. Man United will look at it because he's going to go for free in the summer anyway. And if there's a way that there can be some sort of money that can be recouped because he's going in 5 or 6 months, then you got to take it, really. Of course, Eric Ten Hag will want to know who's there to help, you know. But I believe if Jadon Sancho leaves the club, which is going to happen, pretty much, with a few things to be ironed out on loan, that will free up a few million quid. And if you could sell Martial for 5 to 7 million euros, which is obviously pittance, but that would be enough to sort of get a decent loan to get in a striker, which obviously, yes, when we're looking at the likes of Choupo-Moting and Timo Werner, which again, Dharma said that United have been offered a number of strikers, including those two, but no formal discussions have taken place. But it frees up a little bit of the wages. And when I was speaking to the club to get a bit of a further insight to see where we're at, that was definitely the message. Low cost loans, and we still may not even do anything, but low cost loans is all we could do. And it is dependent on if more players come out during this window. It is that finely balanced. That whole, one in, one out kind of situation. That's exactly what it's like at United. If we can, Donny van de Beek's left, so that's freed up a little bit. A significant amount of wages you would think would help with Jadon Sancho going, and if Martial goes in January as well, which you get is 200 plus K a week off the books, and you get what, £5 million for him, let's say 7 million euros, something like that, then it enables us to do something that is low cost, which falls into what we're being told. So read between the lines, guys. I think, look, we've seen Ineos come into Karen, we've seen, them meeting the players, and Eric Ten Hag spoken about it in the press conference about, we got some good ideas. They talk about strategy. They spent, many hours there, and, there's still more to learn about each other, but they want to work together. And we are hearing a lot of, I think Ineos are saying the right things. When we're getting briefings or reports on the media saying that, Sir Jim Ratcliffe has come in and said that Man United is not about being commercially run. That's not what it's about. We're going to start measuring things on trophies, so go off that. There was reports that the staff said that, just having him in there and saying certain things, it was a breath of fresh air and all these things. So the bar's so low that someone coming in and saying that it's not about money, which was supposedly what Sir Jim Ratcliffe has said. It's not about money. I don't want to take money out. It's all about putting money in, and I'm going to be putting more money in, and all these things. The bar's so low. We've not had owners or anyone at the football club who said that. But at the same time, I understand the skepticism because, lip service is one thing. The reports is one thing. We need to see the action. And I just think we need to take a step back and look at things case by case about how we unpick this situation and be patient and use our brains. The types of tweets and the types of reactions I was seeing to the Varane situation and Martial situation versus the Lindelof situation and all this, I couldn't believe it. I was just like, so you want Man United to keep Rafael Varane on 340 grand a week then? Is that what you want? And then when next season happens, when next season comes around and Rafael Varane's in and out the team because he's inevitably going to get injured, like he does, even though I love him, the ghost of Rafe the Phantom, when he gets injured, then what? Then what? Oh, we're giving him 340k a week. Oh, no, do you know what I mean? If we try to trigger Martial's extension, right, to preserve his value, to try and sell him in the summer, right, and then it gets to the summer and nobody wants to buy him because he's on 250 grand a week or 220 grand a week or whatever he's on, and his stock has fallen so low because he's not played football in pretty much definitely 2 years, probably 3, but let's say 2, right? Then what? Then we're going to be saying, oh, now we're paying him all this money, we can't shift him. Then we're going to go into the new season with Martial still there. And I don't know if you guys have remembered, he went on loan to Sevilla. It didn't work. He was probably available for transfer if there was more to it in the summer, but nobody wanted him. And then guess what? He got injured. So at what point do Man United just write it off and say, we're not signing you? If you took that as Man United are going to give Martial a new deal, I don't know how to help you understand it. I'm trying to now to see it for what it really is. You know, I used some examples about players who had been extended in the past to preserve their value, and then they got sold. Fred is the most recent example of that. Fred got his contract extended by the one option trigger, the 1 year option trigger, at the same time as Luke Shaw, Marcus Rashford, Diogo Dalot. Okay, those 4 players, and then you add Fred in, right? Those 4 players all got contract triggers. That Man United triggered the options for those players all at the same time. Why? To preserve their value, to get to the next summer, and then work out what it is that they want to do. Luke Shaw got a new deal. Okay, don't get me wrong. Some people are saying he shouldn't have got it, and this, that, and the other, but there's a lot more longevity in Luke Shaw, and they saw him as a big part of what Man United are trying to do, and he's the starting left-back senior player. Marcus Rashford scored 30 goals. Don't get me wrong, it's been absolutely shit since he has signed a deal, but he signed a deal till 2028 as well, keeping him at the club. Diogo Dalot got a 5-year +1 extension, basically a 6-year deal, when Man United basically decided that they want him to be the future in the right-back position. Meanwhile, Wan-Bissaka didn't get one until just now with the 1-year extension. And Fred, the 4th player, what happened to him the following summer? He was sold in the summer just gone for £12.9 million to Fenerbahce. Had we not have put the trigger on to allow that to happen, then we wouldn't have got 12 million for Fred. And I'm not saying that's amazing money for Fred. We bought him for 50 million. In like what, 2017, I think, 2018, can't remember. But you know, that was the right thing to do. Now, Fred wasn't on what Martial's on. Fred had been playing a lot of games, and Fred is easier to sell. Similar case with Victor Lindelof. He's not on astronomical money. I know he's got his injury problems at the moment, but he's a steady Eddie, and he knows he's sort of 3rd or 4th choice centre back, and he comes in and does a job, and he's going to be easier to sell by giving him an extra year, not a new contract. Victor Lindelof doesn't have a new contract, but it's much more feasible to keep him on the same terms and look at it in the summer than it would be to keep Raphael Varane on £340,000 a week. You tell me someone in the summer, right, by triggering Raphael Varane, who would want to buy him for 340k a week. Do you know what I mean? And then you tell me why we should keep Raphael Varane at 340k a week, given the injury worries that he has, and given that we're trying to undo the very mistakes that we keep making. We can't have it both ways. You can't have your cake and eat it. On one hand, as fans, we're like, we want the club to change. We want to see them have better value contracts. We want to see them be able to sell players better, and we want to see us identify players through recruitment better than we have done. Then on the other hand, we're saying, oh, why are you not renewing Varane's contract at 340 grand a week? Oh, we're not understanding properly. Why are you going to give Martial a new contract when they're not? Why are you renewing Victor Lindelof? Well, again, if you think about it, it's really easy to see why. And Wan-Bissaka now is falling into that. You look at Hannibal. Yes, he's only young, but they're doing the same thing with him. Is he going to get sold in the summer? Do they give him a new deal in the summer and say, right, let's put him out on loan, or let's try and get some money for him, or let's integrate him into the first team squad? These are all things that are up in the air. So, look, I'm just saying be calm and use this, because there's going to be a lot of things that happen over this period, and we're not going to understand every single one of them. We're not going to agree with every single one of them. Hopefully we start to agree with more than not, because we want to see tangible change at the top. But I do think this is a little bit on us. We have to, of course, some media outlets will report things wrong or say things to gaslight United fans, or, and you have to be able to decipher through that yourself. But when the manager actually speaks and you hear his words, I'm saying just listen to his words and think about what he's saying. And I'll tell you on good merit as well, when I've been speaking to the club, what it is versus what it isn't. So, yeah, we have to be patient. We have to use our heads. And if Martial goes, I think that'll be a good move, especially if we can get sort of £5 to £7 million for him, or euros, whatever it is. Then that will help us to get a short-term loan to help out Rasmus Højlund for somebody who's, well, I mean, if you're saying Martial or Choupo-Moting, it's like, how do you polish a shit? Do you know what I mean? One's just not available and never there, and Choupo-Moting's just not good. And neither's Timo Werner. But at the end of the day, we're going to have to get something or someone, the same way we had to get Weghorst last year just to fill a gap when he started like 19, 20 games from when he came. So, look, it's a bad position, and there's going to be more things that don't add up. There's going to be more things that piss you off as a fan to say, look at us, why are we in this position? But we know that. Stop the revisionism. We know that we're in a shit situation. We know we've got players here that are on long contracts. We know we've got players here that we're trying to get out. And this first summer under Ineos, because January is going to be difficult, this first summer under Ineos is going to tell us a lot about where we are. But if I'm being honest, okay, the noise is about what they're saying. You can see if that's lip service or not. I'm not saying get gassed about that and think Sir Jim Ratcliffe's going to save us. But when you see the types of decisions that are being made contract-wise, I think it's wise. I think Man United are doing the right thing. And we don't really want to give Man United praise as well. I think that's what it is. As fans, we're very reluctant to say well done for this decision or well done for that decision, because most decisions we've made in the last 10 years have been poor. So let's be real about that. So I get that. But I'm saying don't let that sort of cloud what you're seeing in front of you in the immediate, you know. Rafael Varane not getting a new contract triggered, so getting a contract extension at the same terms, is a good thing. Martial not getting a contract extension is a good thing, and don't believe the hype when they're saying that Martial's been spoken about a new contract, because I just don't believe that's true. And also, on top of that, what's Eric Ten Hag supposed to say? Martial, although he's been out ill for like 4 or 5 games or something, 4 or 5 weeks, whatever it's been, although that's happened, he's still got a role to play. Both players still have a role to play. You know, they have a role to play in the squad until the end of the season. Eric Ten Hag's not going to come out and throw them under the bus and say Martial's looking for a new club. Yeah, we're not going to offer him anything new, so he can go for free in the summer. Why are you going to say that? He's not going to say that because he's going to still need him for here all day, even though you can say Martial's been crap. That's how it works. Then when he has been public and has said a couple of things openly, he's got criticised for how he dealt with the Jadon Sancho thing. So he can't win. He's damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. So I'm just saying, let's use a little bit of this, and we will hopefully get to where we want to get to. Smash the like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new. We'll obviously keep you up to date and posted with every single thing that's going on Manchester United wise, all the little details about what's happening. Obviously, the Jadon Sancho situation is bubbling along pretty nicely. I think that's going to get done very soon. Interesting that there's not going to be an obligation to buy or anything like that. I was told by the club today that we won't expect to see that. This is purely about getting Jadon Sancho playing football again. And again, you could say, why would Man United not do that? Because, you know, surely you want a guarantee at the end of it. But he needs to go to Dortmund, play well first, and then that gives Man United the bargaining chip to say, look what you've had out of him. Not pressure Dortmund into trying to do something they can't afford from now and then lose the deal. Jadon Sancho hasn't been playing football for 6 months. So he needs to go and play football, put himself back in the shop window, get some minutes under his belt. And actually, for our sake, it's probably best that it's best that he does do well in Dortmund, so that they go, actually, yeah, this is the Jadon that we want. He's back in his comfort zone. We're going to offer him a whatever deal. What do you want? And then we can say between 40 and 45 million, in my opinion. I don't know about 50. I don't know if they get that, but we'll see. Do you know what I mean? We'll see. So, yeah, watch this space on that, but I expect that to get done. Thanks for all the love, people. Smash the like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. I'm out of it. Peace.